story.
In the mid 1970s, Monsieur and Lucien Lacan, who had the Playhouse Motor in marvelous. They were wonderful, and but Monsieur Lacan came to me and said, "Gibbs, what are we going to do?" That imitation was done many times by any number of people. He expected to get a bar crowd into the inn following the show. Well, that didn't happen. People got in their cars and went home. And so Tom initiated a cabaret company, which ran on for a number of years, which was marvelous. 2 men, 2 women, a music director, plus the director, frequently himself, and he wrote those musical reviews for the most part, and they did them. And Nancy Piccioni, who's the casting director and has been at Manhattan Theater Club for a number of years, headed that thing, was there for 10 years and the head of that company. But Ted Spaulding of Spaulding Inn would come into the 11 o'clock show frequently to unwind from the end of the day, and Nancy was very fond of him and talked to him, and I would go over, and I think it was on an evening when he was sitting there between sets of the show talking about the change of propriety in the inn, and it was Spaulding Inn Club. Cleveland Amory, the great writer of social mores of this country, I remember seeing a book, reading section that was one of 2 inn clubs. I don't know the ramifications of that, but it's was a membership thing, and people annually came to Spaulding Inn. And it was very much a local family from Lancaster, Anna and Randall Spaulding, who had the inn for all those years, and I don't know when that began. They had no relationship to the Spaulding golf ball people, though they had them on the counter for sale because they had the lawn bowling and shared the golf course with Mountain View. And indeed, it was, dinner was at a certain hour. It was all very proper. Everything went like this, and they annually had their awards dinner from lawn bowling with the bagpiper across the way at the clubhouse, and all of this was very smart. And I remember going there with my parents, and I was growing a beard in my very early years, and it must have been the first year, because my parents were here. They were only here one time. My mother died shortly thereafter, but indeed I was growing a beard, and they were not anxious to seat me in the dining room, but indeed Anna Spaulding, charming woman, came out. "How nice to see you. We're so glad to have the theater here." Made me feel great because my father thought, "This is okay. The kid's doing all right." And a big break. But anyway, went into the dining room, and then I always thought, oh my God, the propriety of all this. Well, Ted Spaulding is sitting there at the inn one time talking about the fact that Henry Kissinger wanted to come there, but they absolutely refused because of all of the security stuff, and they'd have to redo the inn, and they couldn't do that for the guests. However, John Steinbeck, I guess that's in 1960, while writing Travels with Charlie, came up here and went and stayed at the Spaulding Inn at some time. This is a story that Ted related, and I'm not sure of the date, but he said, it is John Steinbeck, but I said, the guy comes into the dining room for dinner wearing shorts and a shirt. He said, we'd never had to go through anything quite like that, but he is John Steinbeck. I always loved that, and I thought this man sitting there in the corner nursing whatever scotch on the rocks or something, telling me this, and just absolutely, how do we get past this? But now we're in the 1970s, and all hell's broken loose.
Yeah, right.